Georgia football's back. That means Film Don't Lie is back. The video and the data from UGAsports.com. That's Brent Rollins. I am Dayne Young. We love doing this. It's a lot of fun. We only get to do this because of our friends, our partners, our supporters, Breda Pest Management, and ASW Distillery. So make sure you support them. If you need pest control around your house, use who the University of Georgia uses for Stegman Coliseum, for Sanford Stadium. That's the folks over at Breda Pest Management. And ASW, if you saw me on the post-game overreaction show,
I did a little bit. I did a little bit. Was there a little back and forth there?
There's a lot of back and forth between the ASW Fiddler bourbon and my glass, and that's the way we like it. They're supporters of UGA too, so support Breda and ASW. Brent, this Film Don't Lie episode, we're talking about Carson Beck, the I think hot topic, first start of his career at Georgia. Stats look pretty good. The results, I think, overall turned out fine. I think there were some things left to be desired. We'll talk about all of that. Opinions are everywhere because it's quarterbacks, and I think you just kind of felt the air come out of the tension balloon of us being ready to talk about football. So here we go. Let's talk about the good and bad of Carson Beck.
And I think it's a blend of that. It's a little bit of good, a little bit of bad. Nothing just wow. Nothing just nothing terrible. Nothing where you're just, what are you doing kind of thing. It's very solid, very just, I think that's probably actually the best descriptor is he was just very solid with the football, nothing outstanding, nothing terrible.
We are going to start with some of his best throws. So we have 4 great throws, another play, and then 4 that weren't as good. And this is to Dylan Bell, hitch out to the sideline, gets the first down.
Yep, third down throw, sees the off coverage, sees that he got the one-on-one, knows where to go with the football. And I think this was kind of a theme watching is when, for the most part, when he was in rhythm and it's foot hit the foot, either hitch up and ball's released, and we're going to see some other throws, he's accurate with the football, puts the football where it needs to be. Obviously, he's tall and strong in the pocket, and the beautiful part for him in this game at least, and I think it's actually going to be a theme moving forward, is he was not touched. Like, just not touched. And so we're going to get to some of the bad, as Mr. Doug says, but this is one where you're like, okay, good, boom, third down, move. I will say
this. I thought. Are you finished on that play?
Well, one thing on the other play, I don't know if people realize this or not. We can count them. Right, let's pause it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They had 10 guys.
And most of them are right here.
3. There's 3 there, 3 helmets outside of what you got there. But yeah, they only had 10 players. I'm sitting there looking for a deep safety. I was rewatching earlier, looking for it. And I'm like, no, don't find it. Still don't find it. Yeah, they had 10.
Makes it a little harder to play Georgia if you're going to have a man down. This was, I thought, Carson Beck's best throw of the night, and it turned out to be an incompletion because of a good defensive back play, but one that I still think Dominic Lovett has to hold on to for a touchdown.
100%. And it's great recognition because they were late getting to him in coverage. I did think when I saw it, I thought he was going to just put it on him, but it's kind of a good thing they didn't so it doesn't get undercut. Throws it as a back shoulder. Like, that's just got to be caught. And can we strap the helmet up, please? Like, that thing should not come off that easily. But
when we've heard so much about Carson Beck grew up being a baseball player. This is that kind of baseball quick motion throw to first kind of a deal. This seemed very natural, and if he can do this, I do think his arm is a weapon in the red zone.
Yep, and I think his release is quick. He has when he wants to get rid of it and get rid of it fast, it is there. And this is one that should have been a touchdown.
Was not, but they did score a good amount of touchdowns. Here over the middle, look, get it to Bowers as much as you can. It sounded like there was almost a bit of a pitch clock on Bowers. We could have gone to him more, but we didn't have to.
I think that's 100% true, and I think it will be. He's the trump card. He's the ultimate trump card for anything that they want to do. I mean, you saw the one play where guys just bounce off him, and he's just like flicking them. And he's like, oh, you're not even there, but you're still trying to hit me. But the best part about this play is watching his eyes and his footwork mirroring each other. If you want to watch sort of QBs that are going to hopefully over time be consistently accurate. Kind of pause it at the top of the drop. Boom. A little bit back a little bit to the top of the drop. So when we get boom there, his eyes are to the right. And then as he brings his eyes back to the middle and he knows Bowers is going to be there in the middle of the field, watch the footwork and the hips and the shoulders get lined up, and they're sort of mirroring the eyes versus feet being in one place, eyes whipping, all that not just you hate to say it, you want QBs in a way to be a little robotic in that sense when it's an in rhythm type deal like this, and that's why they do the drills ad nauseum with all the footwork and things that they do. But great job here of sort of marrying the hips and the feet and the eyes, which you see anybody who talks and coaches QBs talk about those two working together.
Yeah, and if you even pause it right here, you're going to say, well, there's not anyone open right now. He sees Bowers kind of finding his hole here. But oftentimes in this game, I thought Carson Beck went to the check down pretty quickly, which is not always a bad thing. I mean, it was productive in a lot of cases, especially with Cash Jones. But I like that he stayed downfield, went to where the marker went to 19, rather than taking what's probably, if he dumps this off, it's probably still a 5-yard gain.
Yeah, and I agree. Good stuff. Hit him in the numbers. Go do something after the catch. This, to me, is where we really started to see him get in rhythm. And this is something to me that early in the game and throughout the beginning part of the game, it was very much a straight drop back game for them. The play action was very quick, and I think he was a little rushed with his play action. But if you watch this play action here, specifically with how he leans in and stays low and sells that a little bit longer, that makes the play, because that's 2 extra steps that the defense takes forward. Smith does a good job, who I think he was a revelation in this game, did really well as a blocker. And we're going to show one of those in another video. But slow, and then hit the gas. And boom, he gets in rhythm. Ball is right there where he can go do something with it after the catch. And I think once this play, and then a little bit of, I think this was after the Muse touchdown, but I think that type of play, the downfield passing play action concepts, this is where I think you're going to see Georgia just annihilate people in the 20 to 25 yard range with the athletes that they have, plus Beck. I don't know if he's, we only saw one true sort of deep shot, a couple, but how good is he going to be there? We don't know that quite yet. But this, I think I know he can be good at this in this area.
Specifically, I want to give a shout out to CJ Smith I think it can be sometimes difficult for receivers to navigate a lot of people without slowing down. And he just does a really good job of keeping forward momentum and kind of knifing this gap around 3 defenders who mostly stay still with their eyes in the backfield.
Yep. Boom, slow, and then hit the gas. Find the crease and hit the gas. And that's beautiful. And the thing was, for me watching the game, they could have done this all game. With the way UT Martin was playing, they could have done things like this the entirety of the game and scored in chunk plays over and over and over again. But you got to work on your stuff. You got to run your things and be sort of deliberate about what you do.
And when you run your things and they're not there, sometimes you have to improvise. And here's Carson Beck scoring with his feet.
When this first happened, I thought he was going to take 2 steps forward and then sort of pop pass it to Muse. Because if you watch our boy Mekhi Muse right there, he's just hanging out behind everybody. Like, you don't see him, he kind of comes off the screen a little bit, but there is no one within all 5 yards around him. And I thought he was just going to pop it to him. But hey, little wiggle. Wasn't quite the Stetson dead leg, but it was enough. And I love the decisiveness of it. Like, all right, go get it. And
I have to imagine that one felt extra good for him because, if he picks up his phone for the last 6 months, he's having people say he's not mobile, which in comparison to the other quarterbacks on the roster, they're faster than he is. But yeah, that doesn't mean that he can't do this. I mean, this is good recognition. Made a guy miss. You score, you don't get touched.
And this QB mobility, there's a difference between mobility and threat. Like, Stetson was a threat. Like, you don't do what Stetson did to Auburn and just start going forward and house at 65 yards. That's a threat. Like, Jaden Daniels, what he's doing for LSU tonight, he's a threat with his feet. You don't have to be a threat, but they have to at least respect your legs and respect that you can do these things. And then also you have to be able to do and go get them when it's necessary that you do to go get these things.
All right, so that's the good that we have from Carson Beck. We'll get to some of the bad things in just a moment, but I did want to pause. Did you have any overall thoughts from what you saw from that side of Carson Beck that we needed to get into?
The play action. Like I think he's going to be really good. It was his best passing grade, 73 passing grade. I think he was 7 of 10 for 130 yards on play action. Like that, I think is where he's going to thrive because that's slowing it down. That's sort of increasing the timing level in their offense because there's an element to their offense that, and this is, by the way, this is in the entirety that Monken was here. And I think I've said this and sort of pointed out some of these same things. They go quick, like get the ball out of the shotgun, go quick in the drop, and the QB's hitting the top of the drop, and the routes are nowhere near to the point of where the ball needs to be coming out. I think they should have a little more patience with what they do from the quarterback perspective. The play action game does that. The play action game, and I think when he gets in rhythm with that, he's going to be effective.
Yeah, the rhythm, I think, is the interesting piece. I don't know that was there a lot.
No.
And look, UT Martin had a good game plan against Georgia. Like, I was impressed with it. So I thought
7 a box, quarter, four cross quarters, safety screaming down, everybody screaming down, playing up, making you go over the top.
And look, I've been very critical of Carson Beck, and I'm about to be more. And so, like, I totally get this. And if people don't hear this piece of it, fine. New quarterback, new left tackle, new play caller, missing your 2 best wide receivers, 2 most experienced wide receivers. Just a whole lot of new happening around there. And so beyond just the nervousness of playing in front of 93,000 people.
First start.
Like all those things come together. There's still some problems that need to be worked on, and we'll get to those too. I do want y'all to go check out BredaPest.com. That's where you can get your pest management, the same ones that do Sanford Stadium and Stegman Coliseum. You can sign up and get to come to your property. Also, check out ASW Distillery and their social channels. Highly recommend the Fiddler Bourbon, which has been my favorite. All right, let's get back to some of the things that weren't quite as good from Carson Beck. Yeah, the not so good things that I think are really concerning, and I'll explain why. Let's start here. This is, you see Bowers moving over to the left. It's the deep shot to Arian Smith. But we talked a little bit beforehand. You weren't quite as concerned about this.
No, I'm not, because it's one where you as a QB, like at this point in the game, you're throwing this. And the interesting part from where if you look at exactly where the ball landed, it literally almost hit the hash. I think it was exactly on the hash. And so I'd love to be able to know, hey, what's the coaching point there of are you hitting the hash with your throw and the receiver has to know to get to that spot? Or should you be, because this is one where to me you put it where the referee's standing or the guy, the umpire there, you put it more to the open part of the field because there's nobody there, more to where he's standing in the middle of the field, and let Arian go get it and go get under it. But the fact that the ball literally landed on the hash is almost like, okay, maybe that's a coaching point with that. So, yeah. But hey, you're going to have to hit these at some point, and Arian, I think, is going to have a lot of opportunities, at least one to me per half, where they take this type of shot.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't complete it. He was a little bit open. I'm not quite as concerned about this one because there's not risk involved in it. No. It's going to be an incompletion, or it's going to be, and even if you do turn it over way back there, fine, you punted it, there are worse cases on drives than that. I just need to see it dialed in deep. Stetson Bennett missed some deep shots too, so it's going to happen.
Yep.
Throwing football that far is hard. He has the arm strength. The arm talent is totally there. I just need to see it connect.
We'll get to see more of those chances, I think, this weekend.
This was the one that I think is most concerning because he was late on this throw, and I think against most teams in the SEC, this is a pick six.
Yes, and why is it? If you look at their defense, and this is kind of at the pause of the snap, like this was their defense, pause of the snap right there, almost a traditional 3-4-5-2 defense, 5 guys across, 2 outside backers standing up, 2 inside backers, and then 4 across playing a quarters look along the secondary. And those guys oftentimes just sort of squatting in a way, not necessarily bailing, just playing slowly there. And what happens here? The outside linebacker that he's looking at drops 7 drops right. He's throwing that quick to delp, and then 7's in my lane. I can't throw that. And then he goes out further. And that's one where if that's not there, hitch up. But the interesting part about this is you almost, to me, have to throw this over the receiver's head because all 4 routes were this. It wasn't like, if you look at the top of the screen, both were quick out, quick out. Like every route was the same here. They thought 7 would be coming and not in the throwing lane. So you either got to go outside initially, which is a long, tough throw, or throw that thing over Kirby's head.
And I was, especially after watching Travis Hunter play for Colorado, I was like, oh man, that guy's in the end zone by that point. If a throw if it's a defender of that quality. Yes. And this is good pass breakup. Like, again, there were some good players in UT Martin, but this is a bit concerning to me, just some of the recognition, but mainly, like you say, if it's not there, that's one that you throw away.
Yep.
Moving on here.
And we saw, this is one of those ones where it's like, ugh. They talked about it. They sort of instantly went to each other. He obviously thought Lovett was checking up. Lovett was continuing miscommunication. But here's the bad part about this with this one, and why it's so hurtful to miss this one, is this is a touchdown. Like when so what's interesting about this, so all these guys that you see have their are turned. They're going to have to turn and open and run. The corner at the bottom of the screen is face guarding the receiver. The safety at the top of the screen just opened his hips to go towards Bowers. Like Bowers is almost being triple teamed here. If he catches that in stride, he hits his head on the goalpost. So
I love the route tree from Bobo here,
especially with Lovett, because he's so quick. And it was almost an exact play like that we did with FDO with him from Missouri. Mm-hmm. And then the catch he made was a smash route type deal that we showed with Missouri too. But they obviously see Lovett's strengths as well. But I think this was, if I'm not mistaken, this was third down as well. Third down.
Yeah, third down.
And I think if you look at his third down plays, I think his passing grade was like 53 on third down. He's only 3 of 6 for 22 yards. Did have a couple of scrambles, including the touchdown. But that's the money down. Got to get better. That was one area last year where Stetson in his sort of final season took that big leap forward, is on third down. And just get these miscommunications cleaned up.
Yep, we'll see if they can do that against Ball State. And then this is one I'm still trying to figure out exactly what happened here. I mean, he definitely goes through the progressions, but I guess when I look at this one, Brent, and I see that, we've got Arian Smith, right, calling for this in the back of the end zone, a lot of space to work with. I know the ref's here, and maybe naturally you try to not go that way, but just loft this up. He's got to probably go catch it in the back of the end zone, and it just seems like it was thrown well behind him where it could be a touchdown.
So this is one where I think there's a couple of things at play, and I think he just rushed himself because of pause it just a little bit and go back just a little bit. Right there. So see Mims's guy coming inside of him right here. I think he felt that. Like if you look at it from the end zone copy, I think he felt that guy winning. But what happens here is that Mims recovers. Like he was only pressured twice in the game. All the QBs, like they were literally not touched other than Ernest Green's letting one slip through for the most part. And the other was a QB pressure. So trust that offensive line a little more. And like you said, this is an exact, by the way, we did our FDL 101 videos. This is the mesh concept. Mm-hmm. You got the 2 crossers and then the over the ball route with Arian Smith. Just put it in the back of the end zone, straight ahead. Like he's got to know that's the aiming point. Put that thing straight where he is versus some form of angle.
So I like that you explained that you think that he felt Mims there, and
because look there, look at Mims there, but Mims recovers. Like he's beat right there, but he's so strong. One hand blocks the guy and then recovers.
I guess what I'm saying is, and they'll all play together more. There'll be more reps, though. It's all going to gel better than it did in week 1. I totally understand that every football team tends to do it as long as the players stay invested, and Georgia's will do. Still, he's going to face more pressure this year. And so if this is the reaction when that pressure comes or he feels someone in front of him, I'm a bit concerned if
Yes.
this is the result.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. By the way, also running back to the beginning, watch Aaron and Brock here. In terms of you talking about first game off, like they basically run into each other. Like that,
Just not a great play. That should have
No.
been a touchdown. It was there for a touchdown.
Yep.
And that's, I think if there's two that he would want to have back, it'd be this one and the one that would likely could have been a pick six.
Yep.
So there you go. 20 minutes on the good and bad of Stetson Bennett, of Carson Beck. Stetson Bennett was there. He was in the stands, apparently.
He was in the stands. Incognito.
2 years of saying Stetson Bennett. I'll get that rerouted. So overall, look, I think that there are some problems with Georgia's quarterback accuracy because that's supposed to be the strength of Carson Beck. And if he's not accurate, then he's not the best player to play on the team. If he is accurate, he's totally the best player to play at the position on the team. And we'll find that out as we have more data and more video, and we'll pair those together on Film Don't Lie. Is that fair? Like, is that okay? Because, like, I got a lot of pushback from my drunken appearance on the POS.
Well, I mean, one, it is an overreaction show, so it's the title of the show. So that's it's a good role and it's a good sort of thing to play. And I think in general, you're not going to really know anything about him until he sees adversity.
Yeah,
and that's when you see it all. And the interesting part is, when will we see that? I'm curious as to when we'll see that. I think it actually might be sooner than people think.
I think at Auburn, just atmosphere-wise.
I think that's exactly the game, because Hugh Freeze is going to get someone. It's just a matter of who. And he's going to have, a couple random trick plays dialed up. He's going to get up 10 somehow. Like, that sort of stuff is going to happen. That'll be an interesting.
They're doing some look, Georgia's quarterback stuff, whatever. Auburn's doing some weird quarterback stuff. They're doing the things where, like, this guy comes in for red zone.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that works out.
I think
we're
the
going long
big picture. Here. I will say big picture. 500-something yards of offense. Did not, other than the one play, for the most part, did not put the ball in harm's way. Take that all day, every day.
That's the good and bad from Carson Beck from Georgia's first game. This has been Film Don't Lie. Support Breda Pest Management. Support ASW Distillery. They support us. Really valuable partners of UGAsports.com. Pumped that they're on for Film Don't Lie this year. And hey, Connor Grading and Landscaping on Around the League. If you need your work done at your home tailgate, get Connor Grading and Landscaping to come out too. More Film Don't Lie pieces will be published on UGAsports.com tonight, and you can see them up in the morning. We do this every weekend. We watch the game. We come watch it together for a second time, show you the things that maybe you didn't see, give you some analysis. It's called Film Don't Lie. We'll see you for the next one.